YouTube tripping. Look at that. Guess I'm just in here by myself. Okay, cool. I have a live chat. Okay, I just started one, and for whatever reason, the live chat didn't come up. I couldn't pop up. I couldn't see anybody's. Comments. So I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on this one, the second one. Good gracious, man, that was stupid. Everybody waited, and then my live chat, some for whatever reason, timed out, and you can't just restart the live chat. It seems like you got to restart your whole live. So my bad for that. Man, I haven't been on here in a minute. It's let me see, let me get my shit together. It's kind of weird being on here. I ain't been on here in like it's been like 2.5, 3 months since I went live last. So I might be a little rusty, but I'm gonna try to get to everybody's comments. I'm gonna show as much love as I can. Mm, let me show that. Okay, so I guess we can jump right into it. Whatever questions y'all got, y'all know the drill. I'm gonna answer them as much as I can, as thoroughly as I can. If y'all got audio, can somebody give me some ones in the comment section just so I know y'all hear me? Anybody? Okay, cool, solid. Yeah, YouTube be tripping, man. I was on there, I was ready, and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't restart my chat, and it was like chat's unable to connect, even though I was live. It wouldn't give me a chat, so I couldn't hear y'all. I couldn't see y'all. All right, I got the ones. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. I got audio. Um, I haven't been live for a minute because, well, I took a little bit of time off, but after that, I got a cough that I couldn't get rid of. I had a persistent cough for like 6 weeks. I couldn't have a conversation without eventually having a coughing fit. And it would have been very difficult to have a live session while talking for an hour and a half or 2 hours or even 3 hours and then not trying to cough. It would have just been too much coughing. I might even cough today, but my cough is gone, so it's the last of whatever I had. So I finally got well. I felt great. I just had a cough. I'm gonna start digging into these comment section, into this comment section. Hi. What's going on, everybody? Um, oh, first of all, thank you everybody who went over to my new channel, Kev Hick Talks Life, and joined that channel and subscribed and show love over there. So far, I got like 2,000 subscribers on there, and my 3 videos each have like 2,000 views. So my 2,000 are very active. 2,000. I appreciate that. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all of those things on that channel. I really need it. What's going on, member? Oh man, I see a welcome to podcast family elevate. I appreciate that. I actually right now the podcast family elevate the elevate podcast is on pause because my wife was buried in schoolwork. But we're going to get that started back really soon. I made the Kev Hick Talks Life podcast into the Kev Hick Talks Life channel just because I wanted to make sure I was staying consistent with the life brand. But I prefer video. I'm dabbling in podcasts. I got another podcast with my man that we're preparing, Fatherhood Village. But I haven't mastered the podcast thing yet. I don't have the audio visual, the audio expertise yet. I'm trying to get consistent sound quality. So the Elevate podcast is definitely still on, but my wife got a little too busy with school to keep contributing to it. And we didn't have a lot of interest on Patreon, so we're going to have to move it to a different avenue, maybe iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever people put podcasts. But I will be getting back to the Elevate podcast. So thank you for your support, member. I appreciate it. Let me see. I'm going to get back into these questions. And you might be the only one. I don't think I have very many channel members. I enabled it to test it out to see what was going on because YouTube put them on there, and that I don't think they're popular. I think we had channel memberships on YouTube before, and they went away just because they're not very popular. But I gave it a shot. I appreciate your support, though. I love you. Let me see. Somebody said, "How can I get a date? Men only come at me for sex." Well, if men want to have sex with you, then there are some men somewhere who want to date you. I think that if men are only coming at you for sex and they're getting what they're coming for, that could be a problem. Um, I'm not counting your bodies. I'm just saying. Also, if men are coming at you for sex, then you clearly have the attraction thing established. So maybe when you actually meet these men, you nurture the other parts of the connection or the attraction, other than the sexual parts. Sometimes women, and I was just telling a client this the other day, women will go on a date with a guy who's clearly attracted to them, who approached them, who's been after them, who wants to have sex with them already. And for some reason or another, they think they have to maintenance a man's sexual attraction. You don't have to maintenance a man's sexual attraction. You don't have to, you can't be asexual, but really the attraction, especially sexual, is established. Like you don't have to do anything to be more sexy. And I think so many women follow I don't know if they see it in media or if they get it from other women. I know that when you feel sexy, you're more confident. I get that, but you don't have to necessarily nurture a man's need or want from sex from you. So when you can't get a real date or when you can't get a man who wants more than sex, sometimes it's because you're not displaying the other qualities that you might have that make you interesting or fun or useful to a person. Um, Again, I'm not saying that you're doing that, but if you can get guys for sex, then somebody out there will date you. I just think you're not encountering those guys or you're not paying enough attention to those guys. And again, I would probably check your friend zone because a lot of times that's where the greatest guys are, in a woman's friend zone. Um, Somebody says, I appreciate the advice you post. Definitely worth the time. I appreciate you for watching. Uh, Somebody said, let's see the Christmas tree. You look cute. It looks cute peeking through. I had to turn the lights off. I did have the lights low and I had the Christmas tree lights on, but the way the camera catches it, it's way too intense and the lights just kind of, they're too shiny and it wasn't good. So I turned the lights off just so y'all could tolerate the live stream without getting a headache. Let me see. Somebody said, how do I impress a guy on the first date? I have one tomorrow. Be interesting. And by that, I just mean be everything that you are, be all of you. Don't worry so much about impressing the guy on the first date. Or just be everything you are. Like, if you're funny or if you're silly, if you sing, if you are expressive, be that. Most of the time, a woman who mutes herself does worse on a date than a woman who just lets it all hang out. And I'm not saying, be out of control, but a bit of boldness goes a long way. And boldness as it pertains to being bold enough to be who you are and being unapologetic about that. Not confrontational, not adversarial, but just being comfortable with who you are and talking to that person like you've known them forever. Talking to that person like he's a guy who already likes you or he's a guy who's been after you, not the other way around. I'm not sure what the relationship dynamic you've said is, but if you've talked to him on the phone or you've interacted with him enough, you should have a general tone of the way he speaks and the way he communicates with you. So just try to make sure that you give an impression that you've known each other forever by being very comfortable with yourself. Generally, when people say, oh man, it just felt like we knew each other forever, it's because both people are completely comfortable with themselves and they're not trying to be, anything else than what they are. They're not offering their representative of, to talk to speak for them. They're just very comfortable with each other. And so generally making people comfortable talking to you, making people comfortable around you and being comfortable yourself, believing what's coming out of your mouth as it's coming out is going to give people the best impression of you. And that's how you impress people. Just confidence, basically. That was a long way to say confidence. Sorry. Um, so I'm trying to manage. I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss any notifications. Every once in a while, my wife texts me and she tells me when I'm missing. Damn, boy, I thought you was at a game. Okay. All right, cuz I appreciate you jumping in. I thought you was at a game. Oh, wait. Super chat. Voxy likes. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for the support. She says, "Hey, Kev, I wanted to, I wanted you to know Kev Hick Talks Life channel is so fire and so on point. Thanks for your honesty and your genuinely caring about people. God bless you and your family. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really like the channel. I'm excited to do it. I have a lot of passions. People just think that, okay, this is a relationship channel guy. He likes relationships. I could probably do 10 different YouTube channels. I'm having these conversations regardless. I just don't have the time to edit the content for 10 YouTube channels. And sometimes I like to sit with my thoughts and write them out, and I don't have time to create that much. I'm a bit of a perfectionist because, as you can see on this live stream, I ramble. So I don't like to just turn the camera on and talk because I just be downstairs rambling forever, and then it'd be very difficult to edit the video. So a lot of times I organize my thoughts by bullet points, and it helps me give y'all better content, but also it kind of limits the amount of content I can put out. But I'd rather put out great content that does something and makes an impact than just a bunch of shit that's coming out of my mouth like a lot of people do. A lot of people just turn the camera on and it gives you something to watch, but it doesn't leave you anything. And so for me, it's very important that however many videos I can make, however limited they may be, they all make an impact in your life. And that's kind of my goal. And so I much rather do the quality thing than the quantity thing. But I will be doing a lot more videos. I have a new schedule. I fit YouTube back into my schedule and back into my official schedule for the day. So I wake up every morning, and before I go to my full-time job, I do an hour for YouTube. So you'll be getting more consistent videos from me, and both channels will be getting a video a week for the foreseeable future, at least. Okay, so thanks, cuz. Thanks, Foxy Likes. Anyway, my moderator is telling me, she said, Lily, sweetie, a guy told me he wanted to take me to meet his family and was clingy for a couple of weeks and then went cold. Does that mean he liked me and then got scared, or was he just messing with me? A lot of times guys will want to meet your family, but it's to figure out if they vibe with your family, or your vibe comes from your family, how much you have in common with them. I've met women's families and I was like, I'm not sure if I want to go on another date just because of the family dynamics. Some people have very toxic family dynamics. Some people come from very, very broken homes, and while you want to understand that person, you want to show love, and you want to get to know that person, you start to see that the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. Now, listen, I'm not insulting you, and I don't think that the brother disqualified you because your family wasn't right. But I know that men have a lot of different reasons why they might want to meet a woman's family, especially prematurely. So I'm not sure what he was judging, what he was looking for. He could have been intimidated by the men in your family. That's a thing that happens a lot. He could have been off-put by the energy or the dynamic set in your family. That happens a lot. But for the most part, a man is usually just going to judge you off of how he vibes with you. And I think at some point there was a breakdown in how he was vibing with you. And unfortunately, that happens in dating, but it's a numbers game. So just go find some more dates and just keep going. You got to find dates. You got to stay in the game, and you have to remember that everybody isn't rejecting you. They're just figuring out that you're not compatible before you figure it out. And so don't worry about it. Just move on, continue to do your thing. Let me see. Somebody said, I'm so rusty, I don't even know how to manipulate the comment section no more. Y'all gotta give me a break, man. It's been a long off period for these lives. Okay. My bad. So another question I made. Oh no, I got that one. Oh, okay. I guess I'm good. I'm good. Back to the comment section. Somebody said, oh, he is so funny. I can't tell if he tries to be funny in his videos because he's so serious at the same time. I think that sometimes the truth is funny. It's not always me trying to be funny. Sometimes you got to laugh before you cry. Somebody said we can't see you. What the hell? Put a 2 in the comment section if you can see me. 2 in the comment section if you can see me. Okay, so that might just be your computer. Everybody else saying they can see me. I appreciate that. Thank you. I got it. 2 2 2 2 2 2 2. All right. Yeah, y'all gotta forgive me, man. I'm very rusty on these lives. I had a whole kind of thing going on, and I had a whole area of the house I was doing it in. And today I just wanted to switch things up because we got the kitchen set up for the holiday, or my dining room set up for the holiday. So I'm a little out of place. Jay Lynn, thanks for the advice. Merry Christmas. Thanks for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you. I'm trying to find. Okay. All right. So you can see me. Even you can see me now. Cool. So somebody said I can never get beyond the third date. Why? I would rate myself a 6 or a 7 out of 10, but I always carry myself as a 10. Can that be a problem? It can be if your method of communication, especially the method you employ to tell people in some way or another, whether that be verbal or nonverbal, that you believe you're a 10. Sometimes people, when trying to project confidence, go a little bit too far, go a little bit overboard, or they give a false sense of who they might be. If you're not getting out of the third date, I think you're just finding people who don't find that they're compatible with you. But if for whatever reason you could figure out, if they were having the same or a similar experience with you, it might be something that you're doing that you don't realize you're doing. I know a lot of people might tell you, "Hey, be yourself. Don't worry about it. Keep doing it. Keep doing your thing, and somebody's gonna like you." And for the most part, that's absolutely true. But if you're not getting out of the third date, you have to start asking yourself at some point, and not to judge you, and certainly not to discourage you from being who you are, but make sure that you don't have any habits that are abrasive, right? There's a difference between being yourself and being abrasive, and sometimes women can marry the idea that, or not just women, people in general, they can marry the idea that being themselves means being aggressive, right? Aggressively themselves, and sometimes that can be a problem. Um, I don't get the feeling that that's what's going on here. I feel like you're just not matching up well, and you're going on these 3 dates, and for whatever reason, guys are either not getting what they want by that third date, or they're getting what they want and they're exiting. So I'm not sure how conservative or liberal you are in your dates, especially with the physicality of it all. But it will probably have a little bit to do with that and those connections. Some guys are just looking for an easy time, and if you're not an easy time, then you got 3 dates to give it at. Give up the ass, and if you don't give up the ass, and they moving on. So like there are so many things that could contribute to that. I probably have to talk to you and get a sense of who you are and what you're offering and what you're bringing to the table energetically, to figure out exactly, and exactly would be a stretch, but figure out a ballpark of what's going on with you and why you're not getting out of the third date when you're having these seemingly good times with people. But it's not just about how you look. You can be a 10 and never get out of the third date. A lot of my clients are drop dead gorgeous, and they don't get third dates, they don't get fourth dates, they don't get real dates. A lot of girls are on the couch every time they see a guy, so that doesn't necessarily matter if you're a 6 or a 7. um, Somebody said, "How do you get over heartbreak?" Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Change your routine. Give yourself a brand new routine so that when a person leaves you or walks out of your life, everything you do doesn't seem like something's missing. Um, it should feel like you have a whole new life. So your schedule should be new. Some of your activities should be new. If you can create some new habits, get some new hobbies. All of those things help to recreate what you believe to be the function of your life, and like the mood of it. And so if you look up and you don't recognize your life from this year to the next, then you've done a good job at that. And generally, if you've recreated your life, your schedule, your hobby, your circle, those things, it doesn't feel like that person's missing from it as much. And eventually you can get used to the life you've created after that person, and not be so stuck to the life you had when you were with them. I hope that helps. I'm trying to give y'all more concise advice, say more with less time, because I be rambling. Um, Somebody said do one for jobs. Oh, a YouTube channel for jobs. Oh man, my YouTube channel would probably be a little bit pessimistic. I've always wanted to write comedy movies, actually, um, and stand up comedy, to be quite honest. But I've kind of secretly written this movie in my head. I hate my MFing job. I've been probably writing this movie in my head since I was like 19. But if I did a YouTube channel about jobs, it would probably be job humor. Not a bad idea. I'm gonna put that in my notes. Um, Somebody said, I have a gym crush, but he ain't studying me, LOL. Well, yeah, it's a lot to look at the gym, and a lot of times guys aren't as available as they may seem. Just because a guy's looking at you or he smiles at you or, he's acknowledging you doesn't necessarily mean he's available. So I think I might have gave somebody the wrong impression the other week. I was just speaking, and I speak to everybody, and a woman lingered at me a little bit longer than normal. I generally don't notice it, but she made sure I noticed it, and I think it was because she might have thought that I was flirting with her when I was really just saying hi. Because I speak to everybody. If you look at my face, I'm gonna speak to you. And I think that she got the wrong idea. So the gym is a funny place because guys are generally scared to approach women anyway because they don't want to look like pervs. Everybody in the gym is wearing something that accentuates the body that they're trying to build. Women specifically are all in there wearing spandex and yoga this and yoga that, sports bras and fitted shirts and yoga pants, and it's ass and thighs and boobs everywhere. And the thing is, it puts men in an awkward position because at the gym, most guys don't want to be the guy who's creepy, who's looking at women, trying to X-ray vision them through their yoga pants. And so it's very difficult. Even if a guy is available at the gym, he may need a little bit more, pushing, or a little bit more of an invitation than a guy who might see you at a mall or something, just because no guy wants to be the perv at the gym checking girls out, getting reported to staff. Okay, so I got a couple questions. My bad. Hold on, somebody said I've been dating a guy for almost 2 years, and we have sex every 3 months, and he doesn't call me every day, and he'll only come around if he needs me to buy him something. Why won't he just leave me alone? He won't leave you alone because you're a resource. You're a sexual resource and you're a financial resource. He only has sex with you every 3 months because he's probably having a lot of sex with a lot of other women. I won't need to have sex with you every 3 months. If I'm calling other people before you and I only have sex with you when they don't answer the phone, or when I get bored of the way they do it or how they do it or the way they feel as compared to you. Sometimes women have filled a very specific role in a man's life, and it's not actually a part of his life. It's generally a part of his resource management, right? If he ain't got a car, it's a woman running around. It's a woman driving him around. If he ain't got money, it's a woman buying him shit. If he's horny, it's his women lined up to have sex with him. He got women that he knows he can call at night. He's got women he knows he can call at noon for favors and things of this nature. So it sounds like you become a resource. He wants you to buy him things. He sounds like a scrub. I'm not sure why you're so into this guy. I actually recognize you. No. I thought that's the comment above you. I recognize her from Instagram. But no, don't be a man's resource. First of all, stop buying these men shit that doesn't make any sense. If you're in a relationship and y'all together, and you know the ins and outs of his finances and his situation, and y'all helping each other, that's one thing. But to be buying a man shit just to keep him around, just to keep him coming over and hitting it every 3 months is I don't know. I think that's beyond self-sabotaging. It's a little bit sad, to be honest. So stop having sex with that guy every 3 months. If I was you, I'd stop answering the phone, stop looking at his Instagram, block him on Instagram, or if you not block him, just hide him so you don't see his stuff, right? Because we don't want to be petty. But you definitely have to stop giving him ass and money and buying him shit. That's just that you're tricking off. Right? I always talk about tricking off. People are like, what you know about tricking off, young man? Enough. I know I ain't doing it, but fuck do I know? I'm just some guy from the internet. Somebody said, I think I got another question. Somebody said, what's the logic behind dating? Does it impress me? Is it to impress me by taking me out to restaurants? Is it to want to get to know you? Let's do something like chill or go for a walk at the beach or walk around the city. I'm not sure what the emphasis is there, but I guess what is the point of dating? What's the logic behind dating? The logic behind dating is to spend enough time talking to a person or in their presence that you can figure out or measure whether or not you're compatible for a long-term relationship or a substantial relationship or whatever structure you choose. There are a lot of relationship structures now, so I don't always assume everyone wants a commitment, but whatever structure you're looking for, the dating process is supposed to be an interview process. There's no sex required to interview people. For whatever reason, we've gotten to a place where everybody feels like, oh, well, you got a test drive. That's what dates are for. That's what dating is for. Dating is not for fucking random people that you don't know who could have an STD. Dating is to figure out the personality profile, the energetic profile, the spiritual profile, the intent, the moral, the values, the characters of a person. It's not to figure out if they can bang you right. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on with a lot of these women is spewing this stuff, and also along the lines of that. Now, if you sexually empowered, do your thing, but you're not dating because you're having sex. You're just having sex. That's not dating. And I'm not judging your bodies. I'm not trying to control your body. Do what you want to do. Have fun, but at least understand that sex and dating are two different things. Also, I would beware of fake female empowerment along the lines of this because there's a lot of women running around here trying to push their sexuality out and motivate the sexuality of other women, which is a beautiful thing if a woman's feeling oppressed and she wants to feel free. But a lot of women are making a lot of mistakes with men sexually, and they don't want to be the only one. So they empower you to do the same shit. So everybody's empowering each other to go out and, just explore and have fun. There's a difference between pleasure and preservation. And I think that most of the moves that you make as an adult should preserve you, not just give you pleasure. And there should be a fine balance between your pleasures and your self-preservation. And so sometimes we get, in an effort to be, liberated, we get way too deep into the pleasure of it all, and we forget to preserve ourselves, and then we end up in fucked up mental positions. So there's that. I don't know what that had to do with anything. Okay, so I got 2 super chats. Bethany Farrer, I probably killed that, but maybe I got it right. I really enjoy your channel. Any suggestions on where I can go to meet single older men? We may talk about that everywhere, but probably where single older men shop, where single older men frequent. But again, that's everywhere. You just got to be out. You can't. A lot of women aren't going outside. They're going home after work. They go to the grocery store and they go home after the grocery store, and it's like they're not frequenting any places that they would even meet somebody. And so first of all, you got to get out the house, you got to be active, and you got to go where people are in general. And older men are where everyone else are. And I don't know how older you're talking about, but most older men can be found in large congregations of people, in leisure or religious places or business places or clothing stores. People have to shop, people have to eat. You're going to find people there regardless. So you could start there. Also, if you have a particular thing that you like to do, or old school music, wherever old men would entertain themselves, or older men would entertain themselves, different from younger men, or in comparison to, you can check those places. But I don't know exactly what demographic you're talking about, so that's about as specific as I can be, not knowing how old you are and who you are. Okay. Got a couple more super chats. Janelle Henry, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I'm sorry, the $15 super chat. I really appreciate it. I didn't mean to disrespect you. She said, bless you and your family. You've helped me so much. I'm currently in a situation with someone in which I have over 10 years of hot and cold. Recently reconnected over Thanksgiving and don't want us to be cold ever again. Help. I think that you need to come to some kind of understanding with that person about why you have such a long history of hot and cold behavior. I don't think that in 10 years, if you've gotten it wrong for 10 years, at some point you either have to give up the ghost or come to a new agreement as it pertains to what you expect from each other. And it looks at, if I'm guessing, you seem to be eager to grow this thing, or to at least revive it in a way that it sustains itself. I would almost guess that the issue is that the brother is not being consistent because he hasn't always known what he wanted, and you can't give him the intent to be with you or commit to you. You can't give him any kind of integrity or the respect that one would have for a person who communicated with them openly before they just went cold, right? So like there are a few things that are happening between you that are solely dependent on him just being different or being more open. And I'm not sure you can change those things. Do your best, but y'all need to have a special conversation. Somebody said, how do I build my confidence after a verbally abusive relationship? I actually talked about this. I talked about an idea related to it on my Hick Talks live channel. And the whole premise of the video was people who disrespect you or show disdain for you shouldn't get the honor of your presence, right? So you're around this verbally abusive person all the time, and you finally gotten out of it. So now he doesn't get the honor of your presence. But what happens a lot of times is if you get used to or acclimated to a certain type of treatment, you start to identify with that treatment. You start to feel like you start to believe that type of treatment is appropriate for you, even subconsciously. You might say, I don't deserve that, but it feels natural and it feels comfortable. That's why you have people who create drama where drama doesn't exist, because they only really know how to function when the stress levels are higher. Right, that's where they thrive. That's where they feel like their energy is accepted. So if you've been in a verbally abusive relationship, the best thing that you can do to rebuild your confidence is to go where you're loved, go where people respect you, go where people speak highly of you, and only frequent those places and only hang around those people until you feel yourself a little bit more rehabilitated from being thought of as less than and being treated like you're less than, and then also thinking of yourself as less than at that point after you were acclimated or trained into bad self-esteem. You have to go around the people who support you, who believe in you, who love you. Speak more to the men who flirt with you, who say nice things to you. We all understand the lonely housewife analogy that, some guy just makes her feel beautiful and all of a sudden, he's the one hitting it. But it's not as simple as her just leaving her husband. She was getting a validation that she had grown accustomed to the absence of. And, she's more confident and she feels more sexy around a man at that point who's giving her the validation and the attention that she's always wanted from her husband or any other guy. It kind of works in the same way. You were in a verbally abusive relationship, frequent places where people are very respectful to you. Get around people who always talk about you nicely and always talk to you nicely and with respect. Flirt with guys who are a little bit more open about their attractions. Don't give up the ass just for the hell of it. Don't do none of that. But just go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated. And eventually, if you can outweigh your recent experiences of verbal abuse with the quantity of love and acceptance and respect, ultimately it'll change your subconscious tone. Also, positive self-talk is a good one. If you're verbally abused and you were, for instance, told you you wasn't shit, nobody's gonna want you, all of these things, there's a lot of positive self-talk that you can do, practices. You can wake up in the morning, you can give yourself a speech every morning about who you are and what you are. If you tell yourself you're beautiful, you can do all of those things. They sound corny, but they actually work because the body follows the mind and the mind sometimes follows the words. And if what's coming out of your mind is confidence, or what you want is confidence, then sometimes you need to speak it before you actually believe it. And if you speak it enough, your ears hear it, and our brains process things differently when we hear them, even when we hear them from ourselves. Just like you heard those abusive comments and you started to believe them, you can hear yourself speaking life into you. You can hear other people speaking life into you. You just have to start outweighing that. If there's a scale, if I'm using the scale as an analogy, you have to outweigh your experience of abuse with love and acceptance. And so right now your scale of abuse is like this, and this is the abuse. You just need to get into a position where you're taking in more love and more kindness than you were abuse. And again, nurture yourself with positive self-talk. Also do things that you're very proud of so your confidence can come up, because sometimes confidence isn't about what you look like or this or that. It's about what you have to offer, what you've accomplished. Sometimes if you have goals that you've put on the ground and you haven't worked on for a long time, then you're more susceptible to somebody verbally abusing you because you haven't been the person that you wish you were. Go out and be the person you wish you were every day, and then nobody can tell you who you are. And so that's another thing. So if you got goals that you haven't been accomplishing, rebuild your confidence by getting into nice places where people treat you nicely, but also being the thing that you wanted to be, doing the things that you wanted to do. If you had a goal, if you wanted to, go to school, pass a class, read some more books, learn about this particular thing or that particular thing, get in the gym, work out, whatever it is, go do that. And then you have more points and pride on who you are, because you'll have a lot more to be proud of. And your reference of who you are will be more contingent on the experience you're having, not the words you were told. I hope that helps. Melissa Sylvester. Oh, I think I got it. I appreciate your $10 super chat. Love and respect. Thank you so much for the support. She said, I've been dating a guy for 5 months now, and I recently told him I want to be exclusive, but he says he's not sure. Is it stupid of me to continue dating him? Should I give myself a deadline? Listen, life is short. While we don't want to throw away great relationships with the potential to be great, we also don't want to make our decisions based on potential. We want to make our decisions, especially in relationships, based on the feelings being equal and reciprocated. If a guy's been banging you, I'm just assuming, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but if a guy's been banging you, or maybe we don't like banging. I'm a guy. I don't think about the sweetest way to say shit. But if a guy's been making love to you for 5 months and he's still not sure that he wants you, he's never really going to be sure. So you've given him 5 months. You need to sit down on that one. You probably should move on if he doesn't know what he wants after 5 months. It doesn't take 5 months to know if you love somebody or if you can see yourself with them or not. Some of y'all are, and you said dating, so that means y'all not even official. Like he won't even give you the girlfriend title, and you can break up with a girlfriend after 5 months of giving him everything you have to offer. If he doesn't know if he wants to be with you, he's never going to be sure about you. Either that, or he can come back a few years later and mature as a person and then be sure about you. But in his current mind state, in his current state of maturity, he's not going to be the man you need. He'll go another 5 years if you let him. So give yourself a deadline that you can respect and that you can live with, not one that I create. But at some point, you have to start putting yourself first. And again, you have to start preserving yourself. That'll become a trauma if you give him too much more time. It's probably a trauma now, but it'll be a terrible trauma, and it'd be a terrible heartbreak if you let that guy continue to have his way as if you're in a relationship, but never give you that commitment. And sometimes that commitment isn't as important, but it seems to be important to you. So if it matters to you, it matters. And for whatever reason, he's not giving you one. He's not going to give you one if he hasn't given you one for 5 months. He's still not in that place. He's not mature enough yet. Maybe he needs to do some maturing. But in the meantime, you need to set a deadline and stick to it, and stop getting laid down by a guy who doesn't even know if he wants you to be his girlfriend. Nina Rose, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Love and respect. I appreciate it. She said, how do I get to know a man who's not emotionally available yet after a bad breakup without scaring him away? You just become a friend. Just be a very good friend. Be very genuine. Be very genuine in the way that you approach your friendship with him. He's gonna have to see you as a part of his like an indispensable emotional resource. And again, that doesn't mean let him use you and dump on you into your drain and be an energy vacuum for you. But he's emotionally unavailable and he needs a friend. Now, with that said, he doesn't need a friend with benefits. He needs a friend. Let some other girl take that. I know you don't want somebody else with him, but trust me, if he's emotionally unavailable, he's just going to be tapping somebody, breaking their heart. You do not want to introduce sex with a guy who's telling you he's emotionally unavailable, because generally they don't grow to a place to where they become emotionally available to you because they know it's not required. And you will get what you require from people, nothing more. And that's where I don't give a damn where you go. That's work, school, wherever you go. You will get what you require from people. So if he's emotionally unavailable, I wouldn't start a sexual relationship with him, but I would be his friend. I would let him fall in love with you the slow way by being somebody that he can't get rid of, that is ultimately indisposable. And once he starts looking at you as an emotional need, or as a person who he needs to keep in his life, then kind of work your sexuality, flirt a little bit. He needs to see that you have sexuality. He just doesn't need to experience it. So you work on a friendship, you build the emotional connection, and then you start to be a little bit more flirty, not overtly, subtly, and again, where things, do what you do to be sexy. He needs to see you as a sexual being to want you. But you first must start with a foundation of friendship and an emotional bond, and that's going to take a legit friendship, not just you laying down with him trying to bang him until he snaps out of his heartbreak, because that just doesn't work. I got a couple questions that people posted. Okay, so if you're still watching, my bad for the delay. Exquisite Diva, she said, I'm talking to a guy who recently had a few personal situations occur since we've been talking. We had an organic connection prior. We still talk and text on occasion. Would we ever get back on track? Yeah, you can. I don't know what kind of personal situations you're talking about. I don't know how deep it goes, and I don't know how neglective he is when he's dealing with his personal situations. A lot of times when I hear that, uh, unless it's some kind of tragedy like a death, I'm always a little nervous. Not nervous. I'm always a little suspicious, because I'm a grown ass man. I can deal with personal situations and kind of manage my relationships. Life happens. Um, Men who for whatever reason break down when they're going through personal situations often do that in committed relationships and marriages. As soon as shit's not going right for them, they're breaking up with their girlfriends. As soon as shit's not going right for them, they're cheating on their wives. Like, I'm always suspicious about a person's endurance. Like, if a person doesn't have any long suffering, they don't have any endurance quality. They're not strong enough. Then for me, that's always a red flag, because there's always going to be shit that challenges you in life. There's always going to be things that come up, and those personal situations, if they're always the thing that break you up, then they will be the things that shut him down emotionally when you're trying to be a good wife and he's not responsive, or you're trying to be a good girlfriend but he's not communicating. Like, so you gotta again, dating is it's basically a long ass interview. It's 4, 5, 6, 17 interviews. Um, that he's showing you a weakness. You need to pay attention to it and not just say, or just think of it as, a break in communication, or whatever he's going through. If he's going through something really tragic, then yes, be there for him. I get that. But if every time he goes through anything, his personal situation takes over your relationship, he might not be strong enough, to be honest. I hope that helps. Um, Somebody said, let me make sure I got, okay, so EB, she said, can you, I suppose, give a little bit of advice on the hot and cold man? Why talk to me when I don't, and then expect him to say hi to me when he completely blows me off and avoids me? Uh, I think that you're speaking about a guy who probably casually. Um, Gentlemen like that, guys hot and cold. You got to understand, these men are watching YouTube just like y'all watching YouTube, right? They learning from some of these guys that the hot and cold thing works. They learn that women like the guessing game, and it works. It's good advice. When these pickup artists tell guys to confuse women, to strategically neglect them, to be hot and cold, to do all of these things, women get in the conversation. They go off, oh my God, men ain't shit, men ain't shit. You realize that if none of this shit worked, they wouldn't do it. Men only do what works, what's required. Men buy nice cars because women require them. Well, I think I'm way off topic of your question right now, but I think this is an important point. Men buy nice cars because women require them. Men display bravado because a lot of women like it, right? Men play hard to get. They are emotionally unavailable. They whore around and then let the women talk about it, because all you need is a little bit of resume for being a whore, and more women are interested in whoring around with you. Like, women have all of these odd things that they respond to, and then they'll list standards of a gentleman, of a perfect gentleman. If you ask them, well, what do you want? They list this perfect gentleman, and then what do you respond to? It's some bullshit. Well, if hot and cold didn't work, then men wouldn't do it. But everybody does hot and cold because it's kind of a human nature thing. I think he's just trying to manipulate first of all, the tempo of whatever y'all got going on, if y'all seeing each other in passing. And he's also jockeying for position. Y'all don't clearly trust each other enough to communicate openly and honestly. So he's doing hot and cold. That's what people do when they're trying to be protective of themselves, but also trying to intrigue someone else. It might just be a great conversation that y'all can have that break that up. But as far as the day to day, you know, used to like back then. He looks better than me. Looks better than me. What the hell? I'm more. I don't. Okay, so I think I answered your question. Forgive me if I didn't. Love and respect. Somebody else said, should I be concerned if I'm in a 1 year abstaining? I'm in a 1 year abstaining supposed relationship with someone who thinks his high school friend who hold on. I don't know, there's some shit going on here. Hold on. Claims that he used to like back. Okay, I need you to RS. Can you rephrase your question? I hope my moderator can find it when you refresh it. I'm not sure exactly what's being asked, but I appreciate your question. Love and respect. Um, make sure I got everybody. All right, cool. So I think I got everybody for my moderator. Okay, so Nina Rose. Nina Rose said, I already answered that question. Let me Aries Warrior. Aries Warrior. Thank you for your $5 super chat. She said, hey Kev, I need your opinion as a man. I have an ex. I've known him since 2005. He will still try to come around and really never really wants to be committed. So I turn him. He's still trying to come around. Okay. If he's been your ex since 2005 and he's not committing now, you are his backup. Basically, he pops up when he don't have nothing going on. He have no room, probably very little romantic prospects that he's excited about. Most men understand that if you've had sex with a woman once, she doesn't really count that as like a a new experience, and so she doesn't feel as protected protected from you sometimes, especially if she would like the relationship to continue or reignite. So for the most part, guys know that where they've been before, they can go again, especially sexually. So he loves you. He probably cares about you a lot, but he also doesn't want anything. And so you got to stop letting him come around because he's not going to be committed. If he never really wants to be committed, he's known you since 2005. He knows enough about you to know that he doesn't want to be with you for real, unfortunately. Let me see. I got some super chats, or I got some questions or something. Hold on. Okay, I got that one. Okay, so she's too petite B. She's too petite B says, what does it mean when a guy texts you, I love you randomly? We established that we're building a friendship again. We have been intimate before and gave a connection and history. Have a connection in history. If a man is texting you, he loves you randomly, then he likely loves you. Most likely, he's not completely satisfied with the stage of the relationship that you're in as well. He's trying to reassure you that he is apparently who he presents himself to be. And he's trying to nurture that same level of emotion or commitment from you to him. Maybe he feels a little bit disconnected. Maybe he feels further from you emotionally than he would like to feel. So that would be a good reason for him to give you those I love yous randomly. Maybe you're just what he thinks about a lot. Maybe you're just the person he wants to be with, and even though you guys haven't figured it out, he's coming to a realization that he knows what he wants. I hope that helps. Let me see. Somebody said he used to like back then. Oh, okay. Thank you, RS. RS asked the question again, so I'm going to answer it. I appreciate you. She said, should I be concerned if I'm in a 1 year relationship with a guy who thinks his high school friend that he claims he used to like back then looks better than me? No, not really. If he's not spending time with that high school friend that he thinks looks better than you, then not really. If you can make sure they're not, talking or he's still crushing on her, not really. This might come as a great shock to some of y'all, but every man in here, or not in here, it's not a lot of men in here, but every man has seen a woman that he thinks probably looks better than his wife or his girlfriend or the girl he's talking to or the girls he is sleeping with at the time. Uh, Looks aren't as important as women think. Um, to a man whore, they are. So if you know your man, if you know your man's a whore and he looks at a woman and he just wants to lay her down and then he's going to go do it, then you don't have a chance anyway. But if you can trust your brother, if you can trust your man, I'm sorry, not your brother. If you can trust him, if you can trust your man, and he's a man of integrity and his intent is an honest one, excuse me, I don't think that you need to worry just because he knows of somebody who looks better than you. And just because he thinks they look better than you doesn't mean he still has an attachment to them. So that's not the case. My wife is beautiful, but I've seen women who look better than my wife. They don't mean shit to me. He used to like that friend, so there's a little bit more danger, and so that's why I said the connection has to be limited. Um, but every man has seen a woman who he thinks looks better or looks different in a more exotic or attractive way. That doesn't that everybody you've seen a man that looks better than your man. That don't mean you wanted to cheat. You've probably liked a guy that you still know or still on your Facebook friends somewhere, and he's on your Facebook friends. He looks better than your man. Your man don't have to worry about him. As long as the connection is still there and you can trust your man, don't worry about it. I hope that helps. And I don't mean to that probably sounds really harsh. Oh my God. But that's just the truth. People see people finer than their spouses all the time. Nobody tripping on that shit. Uh, Aesthetic fetish. Thank you for your $10 super chat. Love and respect. Uh, she said, "Hi, Kev. Do men see curvier women as sexual objects mostly? I dress conservative. Men compliment my physical rather than my mental. Please help." Uh, there. I guess we're talking about a particular type of man, the type of man who likes curvy women. Uh, just because a man might really like your curves and maybe compliment you physically doesn't mean he's not interested in your mental. It just means that he's overwhelmed by the need to mention it, and he's probably overwhelmed by his attraction. And most that doesn't mean that he's not hoping more is there. But also, there are some short-sighted men who really don't respect women's minds anyway, and so they just go right for physical, and they only really acknowledge physical. So that happens, but that's not reflective of all men, and that's not reflective of the experience of all curvy women only getting guys who want them because they're curvy and not because they're smart or they're intelligent or because they're witty or because they're funny or because they're talented, or because they're capable. Um, I, for one, when I was single, curvy women get my attention. I'm a large enough person, um, but yeah, you might be really attracted to a woman's curves. You still want to know if there's something in her head, if you're a man with something in your head. And I think that's the difference here, is that you might be running into men who don't have a whole lot to offer themselves. And so all they understand is your sexuality. But again, the gentlemen who are bold enough generally to comment on your physicality are generally probably commenting on a lot of girls' physical bodies. They're very physical beings, generally very sexual beings. A smart man, a wise man, and a man of some depth is going to try to comment on something that matters and means a little bit more because he wants to impress your intellect. If a man's not even mindful enough to try to impress your intellect, and again, we try to impress people. We're fake a lot of times. So, I understand that trying to impress a person doesn't mean you're a great person. But if a man's not even he's not even aware enough to attempt to impress your intellect, then he's probably just an airhead and he's short-sighted. So you're probably attracting a lot of those guys because you're hearing the empty contents of their minds. When wiser, wittier, more established men emotionally might not say anything, and so you're not getting the whole picture of who wants what from you. You have a lure. Men want you. You have to make a concerted effort to have great conversations with men and display your intelligence, and you'll just pay a little bit more attention to the first few who really realize and recognize the value of that intelligence. Don't Don't respond well to men who only state compliments about your physical body, and don't give up no ass to men who are only concerned with your physical body and you don't have anything to worry about. It's a numbers game. You're going to have to deal with more numbers because you're dealing with more men coming at you because you got a lot more body. But there's still good men that are out here. There's still men who want more and they want great sex. So they're going to see you and they're going to say, man, I would have fun with her. She looks beautiful. She looks wonderful. I would ravish her. But what is her mind like? What is she thinking? What's her energy about? Those men exist. So don't assume they don't just because the more bold ones or the whores, and they just talking to every woman like that. It doesn't really matter. Lena Laura, I hope that helps. Lena Laura says, hello, Kevin. First of all, thank you for your $5 super chat. Thank you for the love. I appreciate you. She said, hello, Kev. Question: why exes come back when you happy? Because they didn't want you gone forever. A lot of times when people aren't over you, they'll give you peace as long as they can't assume that your relationships are going well, right? As long as they assume that fate would have you ultimately come back to them. Oh, man, everybody's like, all these people who push this fate shit are really hoping and waiting for somebody. Like, and a lot of times it's somebody very specific, right? When your exes come back when you're happy, it's because they really didn't want you to get that far, right? They had you on like a fishing lure, like a clear little fishing line, and you didn't realize you was on one until they figured out that you was falling in love with somebody or somebody was about to try to marry you, and all of a sudden they want to come back and try to figure out how to stop the wedding or mess up the relationship somehow. That happens generally. I don't even know if it's like an energetic thing where your energy just attracts your exes back, especially if they're unhappy. Um, Nobody wants to be the last one to find somebody. Most couples wants to be the first one to be happy first, so you can show them how happy you are. And it generally seems to be a little bit torturous for a person who hasn't found that same connection or that same happiness with somebody else to watch you move on. So there's a plethora of reasons why ex might come back when they recognize you're happy, but sometimes it's just like an energetic coincidence that they just kind of walk back into your life or attempt to when you're happy. And it might even be a test. Make sure when those things happen that you honor your relationship. And you honor the person that makes you happy, and you honor the effort and the commitment that you've been given by your spouse. It shouldn't even matter why an ex come back. Like, it shouldn't at all. Like if an ex of mine came back, it would be inconsequential. It wouldn't. There's nothing there, right? I wouldn't even be concerned enough to ask some person like me a question about why they came back. So that's the difference, is that you have to be detached from the whole idea of even entertaining them when they come back. That has to be like a piece of trash on the ground that you just stepped over. Not that they're trash, but just as you're unconcerned with a gum wrapper or a piece of chewed bubble gum on the sidewalk when you walk, you have to be that unconcerned about an ex and what they want when they do show up and trying to ruin your happiness. Let me see. I got to make sure I didn't miss no questions and whatnot. All right. Oh, this is going well. It was a rough start, but this one is going well. All right, cool. So I can get back into the comment section. No moderator comments. My wife didn't give me nothing. So somebody said, Nazan Doe. She said, I wish I could get advice from you. You can, but you must go to www.girltalkwithguys.com, go to the services section and schedule a call or email advice. Pretty soon I'm doing away with email advice because it's very time consuming. But I still schedule calls. So right now I have email advice. If you need some email advice, get it while it's lasting, because in about a month or so, I think I'm gonna redo the structure of my services, because email advice can get a little daunting. But even so, right now you can send it, and I'll answer your questions. That's the way to guarantee. I answer about 30 free questions a week generally on Instagram, but there's no way for me to tell yours is more important than the next person who says quick, urgent, help. Everybody starts their emails like that. I know you're busy. Please, quick, urgent, help. If it's urgent, then go to my website because you're guaranteed a response. it's not that damn important if you're not willing to go to my website, to be quite honest. Um, um, but like I said, I will answer free emails. It's just like I only answer about 30 of them a week, and I get hundreds of emails a week. Um, I get between 150 and 200 emails in the 8 or 9 day period. So it's a very slim chance that I'm going to catch your question if you are hoping for me to catch the free one. The only people I consistently get, hopefully, and I'm hoping I'm getting 100% of, are the people who are having suicidal thoughts. I don't know why people who are in a dark place contact me, why a lot of suicidal people contact me, um, people who are really just in the worst place of their lives. But when people contact me and they're in that condition, I don't give a damn about who I got lined up. I want to help that person, and do whatever I can do. They came to me for a reason. But if you're just asking me about a guy and I got a person who seems to be suicidal or contemplating hurting themselves, I'm gonna pick that person. I'm not gonna tell you about it. This guy likes you, and this girl clearly needs some psych meds, or a psych professional, or somebody to just listen to her because she has nobody. So I'm trying to be what God wants me to be. And I'm no holy roly, so don't do that to me. Y'all know I say what I want and I do what I want, but um, I'm trying to do, what God would have me do with whatever influence and gift I have. And so it's important for me to make sure I stop people from harming themselves first. So those were generally where my free advice antennas are raised up. And then after that, I just kind of click on random emails and hope that I get somebody who really needed it. So if it's important, you might want to consider paying the very small amount and giving, something back to my family for me giving the time to you. Love and respect. Fitness Mom, cool picture of the dog. I appreciate your super chat, and I appreciate you waiting because I was rambling, as y'all can tell. She said, thanks, needed this tonight. He cheated. I caught him and I ended it that night. My question is, how do I get over missing him? The good parts. And yes, I have hobbies, a job, friends, but ugh, I get it. I don't think that you make it any easier for yourself, Fitness Mom. And I'm sorry that I'm shaking the camera. I'm using a laptop and it's literally on my lap, and generally it's on the table, so it's very steady. So sorry if y'all getting a shaky camera thing every once in a while when I adjust. But like I said, if you want to give yourself the best chance of getting over him, then you have to stop separating the good parts from the him in his entirety. I think that you've segregated and quarantined the parts of him that you miss and like, and that's the memory that you're left with. So you acknowledge, hey, I caught him cheating, and yeah, I got rid of him, fine. But then in your recollection of him, you're focusing in on the parts of him that you miss, and not the totality of who he is, what his character was, his dishonesty, or anything like that. And I think to get over somebody, you have to see them for everything they are, not just the parts you wished you could have held on to. Um, so yes, you have hobbies. Still always good to switch the schedule around so it doesn't feel like that person is missing. But for you, it seems like, because you even put it in your question, the good parts. Stop focusing on the good parts and focus on the complete picture of that person. Um, the totality of what he is and what he presented and what he showed you wasn't just the good parts, right? So it's best for you to, as much as you've quantified the good parts, quantify the bad ones. Take inventory of the shit that he did that was horrible, the shit that he did that annoyed you, that was inconsiderate, all of those things, and you remember the whole package, and then it looks a lot less fresh and a lot less exciting um, to daydream about them. But as long as you're daydreaming about the good parts, you're going to take that daydream into a daydream about where you and the good parts of him go off into a vacation, and the good parts are so sweet to you. The good parts make love to you nice. The good parts are considerate. The good parts ask you to marry him. The good parts are doing a damn job on your psyche, and the bad parts didn't get no credit because you're completely ignoring him. So it's very important for you, again, to see everything he is and focus in on that, the whole picture. And if you have to focus on anything, focus on why he got kicked out of your life to begin with. Keep a distance, Don't be running into him. Don't get casual with him. Don't be liking his pictures on Instagram or whatever social media thing he likes. Don't be trying to figure out how to connect with him or check in on him or make yourself available so he can internet stalk you. Look at your pictures. Don't be posting subliminal messages and memes about him. Just move on like you never existed. Don't talk to him until you have have gotten enough strength that he has lost all power over you. So not one word and not one word to him until that point, until you just don't give a fuck about him anymore. No, sorry, Christian folk. Like I said, if y'all want a Christian channel that doesn't cuss or nothing, BYNC Dating Stories. I didn't see her in here tonight, but I know she's around. BYNC Dating Stories. That's Christian love experience. I'm sure she can point y'all to somebody who doesn't cuss on a regular basis. Sometimes I just ain't in the mood to be diplomatic. I'm a diplomat by nature, but I'm also a rebel. And if I feel like I'm forced into a particular type of communication method, then I switch it up. So I'm doing my best, but I've had a stressful enough day that I don't feel like tiptoeing around my emotions right now. I'm happy, but my fuse is a bit shorter. Love and respect. Forgive me for that. I hope that answers your question, though. Let me go down to the bottom because people are probably annoyed as hell that I haven't gotten anything from down here. Okay, flawlessly imperfect ASMR. People keep telling me I should do ASMR. If I can figure out how to do it without being creepy, that would be cool. But I think ASMR is a bit creepy, so I'd have to find a way to like be cool about it. Um, anyway, what does it mean when you've been in a relationship going on 4 years with a 2-year-old and he keeps putting off the wedding, but does everything a husband should? I think that he has some commitment issues. Um, he might have some trepidation about a financial a bondage, happening. He might not understand um, how to approach you about potential prenup or financial contracts. That's always a thing that men generally try to hold off the wedding until they excuse me, have made peace with the fact that they might be, relinquishing a good amount of their financial assets if things don't go well. That's scary for some guys if they have it in their pockets. If he don't got no money and he's putting off the wedding, he doesn't want to be married. And while he might love you, marriage seems more confining to him than like a new life. A lot of women feel like, oh my God, this is the start of our new life when they get married. And so women are groomed from a very young age to want to put on princess dresses and find a prince to go and be married off. And it starts from, to be honest, a very, for me, at least my understanding, very creepy part of our culture where they were grabbing 13-year-old and 14-year-old girls and marrying them off to 30-something-year-old men. But culture has always put women in that wedding dress from a very young age, and men are generally just not being fed that same thing. We're playing cops and robbers and race cars and all of these things when we're children, and so we grow up and then we grow to either trust or mistrust, but we've never been fed this fairy tale that marriage is the end all be all. In fact, marriage seems to be the end all fun, right? Not the beginning of a great life, but the end of all whoring around. And most men have a fantasy, if not a reality, of at least wanting to whore around, unfortunately. Um, so anyway, yeah, he might not have a fantasy of being married, and he might have a different idea or a more confining idea of marriage that is stopping him from marrying you. As long as he's treating you well, try to come to an understanding, but I'm not sure that you should, in your great relationship, if it's healthy and it's satiating, because somebody doesn't want a marriage contract. But that's up to you. That's not me. You don't listen to me. Listen to your gut on that one. Somebody said, Lady Pavo TV. Lady Pavo TV. Okay, I got that. Lady Pavo TV says, should cheating be a deal breaker to a relationship that's been over a year long? A year's not very long, by the way. I mean, I know we don't live very long, but a year's a snapshot in history. So don't do a thing just because you've done a thing for a while. Anyway, should a woman leave a man who cheated when they have a family with them? Once a cheater, always a cheater. Okay, so if you have a family with a guy, then you have more to lose, and it's not just about you. Uh, Especially if you have kids involved, or I guess a family is kids. So forgive me. If you have kids involved, then you have to consider their upbringing. And unfortunately, it falls on whatever parent was cheated on to consider the kid's upbringing, because the person who's cheating doesn't give a, it may care, but hasn't cared in their actions about the trajectory of the childhood experience. Um, so, for instance, like I have two kids. I have a 2 year old and a 5 year old. My son will be three on January 6th. So I have a 2 or 3 and a 5 year old. My first, as a man, my first goal in life is to raise them to be men who first love themselves, and then are loved by the world for who they are. And to do that, we have to build in them a lot of qualities. Um, I don't know if I can do that from across town, or every other weekend. Uh, my life's goal and my life's work, my legacy will be what I imparted onto my children. So I don't fuck other women because I have a bigger goal in mind. I want to protect my marriage. I want to protect the union. I want to protect my wife's, emotional stability, obviously. But I'm considering the family, right? A lot of times men aren't considering the family, and it puts the responsibility on the person who's being cheated on to consider the family and stay over considering the family and leaving, or considering themselves and leaving. So I can't tell you exactly how you should play that, because I don't know the dynamic of your family. Your child might really need that person around, even if they're not good for you. At some point, we sacrifice a lot for our children, and if you have to sacrifice being completely comfortable 100% of the time, that might be something that you have to reconcile in yourself. But I'm not telling you it should be required. None of us are required to take shit or abuse, especially. But there are more things to consider than if he did the relationship perfectly the whole time. Also, to your question of, is once a cheater always a cheater? No. Men do make improvements. They can reform. Um, but if you got a family and this brother's already grown, and the grown man version of him is cheating on you, then it's unlikely that he'll not be a cheater or he'll change. Young men grow up to be better men than they were boys. So at some point, you can cheat on by 16, 17-year-old, 20 something year old. At some point, he can be a man who doesn't cheat because he's still maturing. He's still figuring out what kind of man he's going to be. But sometimes you get with a man who knows what man he is, and he's had enough time to quantify that. He's just a piece of shit, So we are what we are in the end. And if he's made peace with who he is, then maybe he doesn't cheat. Maybe he continues to cheat. I'm sorry. So is once a cheater always a cheater? Not necessarily, no. But is once a cheater most likely a cheater? Definitely. Right? And most likely, this person is going to be a cheater if they were cheating before. But again, men can make improvements. I've watched men, I've known men to make vast improvements in their characters once they realize what was really important to them. So I hope that helps. I think I got another. Let me see. All right. Somebody said, do men want women to chase them? Yeah, it's convenient. It's very convenient. Does somebody? I got another super chat, so I'll get with you in a minute. But yeah, men want. Everybody wants to be chased. I'm not sure if there's a person, man or woman, who wouldn't prefer the person of their dreams to pine over them and chase them and pursue them fervently. I just don't know if that person exists. So yes, men want to be chased by women. Should it happen? I don't believe so. But there are men who believe in the equal and opposite extreme, that absolutely women should chase the man and the man is the prize and things of that nature. That's their thing. I don't think that anybody should chase anybody. Personally, I want to go into a relationship. If I'm single, I want to be in a relationship where we both equally want each other. We both equally are trying to impress each other. We both are equally trying to show our commitment and establish a healthy relationship. We both equally want the emotional health of the other person to be intact. We both equally want the other person to be uh, not just fulfilled in the relationship, but like secure, right? And I don't think you start that from a chase me type of environment. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get that from you don't get that from a one-sided entrance into a relationship. You get that from two people respecting the value uh, of each other, and then meeting in the middle. Uh, so that's just how I feel. But yeah, men want women to chase them, and women want men to chase them. It's the nature of man. Raspberry Vina. Raspberry Vina. I need some water. Where my damn water at? Hold on, let me get my damn water. I can tell my voice is getting dry. Okay, y'all gonna get to see me. I might have to cover the camera up because I got duck lips when I be sipping this shit. Okay. Um, Raspberry Vina. He loves me, and I said I do too, but not ready for a relationship because he can go days without speaking. We had a date tonight, and I haven't talked to him since yesterday morning, so it didn't happen. Still no call. We haven't had sex. Thoughts. I don't think you should have sex with that brother until he gets consistent, until he can show you what consistent communication, consistent effort of just meeting you in the middle, that he's a person who wants a relationship. I never understand these guys who try to get these women to commit to them when they're not offering anything that looks remotely close to a commitment. If you go on days without talking to a person, or a brother going 20 and 30 hours without calling you or responding to you, I don't think that he's ready for a relationship, because if you require more, you're not going to receive more, accepting less. So no, don't have sex with that brother until he gets more consistent, and he should understand what's required of him. Maybe you need to have a conversation with that brother, or maybe you should just let him know that y'all have sex when he becomes the person he is pretending to be. He needs to fake it until he makes it, but right now he's not making it. So um, make that brother get a little bit more consistent. And if he wastes your time for too many months, you're gonna have to do something else. Uh, Hope that helps. New Day Cass um, says, "Thank you for all the advice. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let me make sure I answered your question all the way, because sometimes I get a little hasty." Yeah, if you haven't talked to him, look, I'm back. I'm backtracking now. Raspberry Vina again. If you haven't talked to him since your date night, and y'all missed the date because y'all didn't make contact today, then he's just not the one, man. He Right now he's not the guy. So he needs to grow. He can grow with you, or he can grow away from you, but he needs to grow. Sensible socialite, how you doing? I ain't seen you in a minute since the last live. I guess you always show up. I appreciate you. She said, "Do women of a certain age, 40s, give off a certain or desperate vibes? I've been attracting married men and men in their 20s. What do I need to attract quality single men in my age range?" You attracted married men because you're probably pretty attractive, and to be quite honest, a lot of married men are a little bit disenchanted with the shape that their wives are in, and the look that their wives are giving them, and like the habits of their wives. A lot of married men been married for a while. Women stop doing the things that are seductive enough to keep a man really excited about the marriage. And so you see another woman who's doing it just because she's single and she's thriving. It looks good. It looks way better than it would have looked had your wife had just been doing the basic things that attracted you in the first place. And I'm not putting all the responsibility on women that married men are cheating, but I'm saying there are facts in play here that, whether or not we like to admit them, no matter what Oprah tells you, no matter what who tells you, married men and men who feel stuck, and women too, this happens with women too all the time. People who feel stuck to somebody that's not fulfilling them in any way will look out and see something that they like. And the difference is, some scoundrels will actually go after it, while other people will work on their relationships at home. Married men that are talking to you are attracted to you. You're probably different than their wives, and that makes you more of a fetish. Men in their 20s are approaching you. It just means you're really attractive and you have a mature energy that a lot of guys with mother issues are looking for. So they have a little bit of a mother fetish, but you're also attractive, and so that doesn't help. But it tells me that you're put together. So that if you're put together and married men are tempted by you and young men are tempted by you, then there are men somewhere, there are quality single men of your age that will want you. I don't know what you need to do because I don't know what you're currently doing. I might have to talk to you on the phone and kind of figure out, get a sense of your style and your presentation and what you're kind of up to, or see pictures of you. Most of the time, unless I'm on live, I don't see pictures of people that I talk to. I never know what people I look like or what people I'm talking to look like. I can tell you're pretty, but I don't know what you're doing in your day-to-day life that's eliciting the response you're getting. So I'd have to get more information, and so I hope that helps. But I think that the answer to your question lies in a deeper conversation. Write me on Instagram. We can talk about it. Put like 5 or 6 stars in the first line. Let's see about it. Okay, my bad. Okay, so my phone just keeps going off. Somebody said, no, I got that one. Devin D, thanks for the super chat, Devin D. Love and respect. They did. YouTube don't show me super chats under like $5 or $2 or something, but that doesn't mean I don't care about them. I appreciate all y'all. Community terror. I don't even know. Terrorist? Yeah, terrorist. Community terrorist. That's different. I've never seen that word. How to be affectionate to men without being sexual? That's a very good question. I love that question. So, community terrorist says how to be affectionate to men without being sexual. Oh, my mom's in the chat. Hi, mom. Um, so this guy awkward. Just playing, mom. Just it's all good. Love you and respect you. I'll see you on Christmas. Um, anyway, how to be affectionate to men without being sexual. Uh, mm, Man, I never even thought of the structure of the answer. This is the first time I've gotten that question. Generally, you don't have to be obviously you don't have to be affectionate to be sexual you don't have to be sexual to be affectionate with a person. So the things that I've experienced that were nice to me were obviously but you got to be a cuddle guy. See, sometimes being affectionate with a person depends on their love language. So some people need affection verbally. Right, their love language is verbal affection. Some people need affection; they need physical touch. So for a person whose love language is physical touch, affection to them is maybe hand holding or cuddling, not having sex, or even straddling a guy and just not doing anything that leads to sex from that point. But when a woman straddles a man, it feels very intimate and it feels very reassuring. It's kind of a it's what would I want to say? It's the type of thing. It's like a security position. It makes a man feel very secure in who he is with you if you're straddling, because women don't straddle scrubs and men they don't like. That's an affectionate, intimate, face to face position, and that's not like sexual. That's clothes on, just having a conversation while straddling. If a guy needs touch, but you don't want to give him sexual contact, if a guy needs words of affirmation, you're affectionate with him by what you say to him. You give him the things that he needs to hear. You tell him he's a hard worker. You tell him you appreciate him. You tell him you're proud of him. You tell him, you recognize the effort that he puts in. You give him the words that he needs to recognize that um, what he's attempting to do in your relationship. You just reassure him that his efforts aren't going in vain and that you appreciate everything and you're recognizing and you're taking inventory of all he is. Or you stroke his ego. Some guys like themselves a lot and they want you to like them a lot too. So just like a woman needs to hear she's beautiful or she looks good or, she looks nice, guys need to hear, some guys need to hear that same thing. Every guy wants to feel, wanted by his woman, just like a woman wants to feel wanted by her man. So it just depends on what the love language is, how you can be affectionate without being sexual. His love language is touch. We went over that. His love language is verbal. You went over that. Some people accept affection with gift giving or favors, right? The more you do for them, the more they feel loved. So it just depends on what his love language is. In fact, I would just refer you to the 5 love languages. Look up the 5 love languages if you haven't. Generally, the love language that a person receives is the way that you can be affectionate to them without being sexual. And I keep looking at this piece of lint on the top of my computer. I don't know why. And I probably haven't been looking at the camera for a while because I don't know, I'm just so mesmerized by it. Anyway, that's how you do that is you figure out what his love language is, and then you love him in the way that he receives it the best. And that will count as affection for the most part in a way that he understands it to be. Let me get some more questions. Hold on. Um, for the cause, Kev, can I come back and talk? I think, I don't know what that means. Okay. Courtney Boyle, I appreciate your super chat. Love and respect. Thank you. She said, for the cause, Kev, can I come back and talk? Yeah, you can come back. Come back when you got a question, I suppose. I'm all right with that, Courtney Boyle. Love and respect. Locks of Love. That sounds familiar. I think I talked to you before. Maybe I did. She said, I still like this man, so it sucks. First of all, thank you for your $20 super chat. I appreciate it. Um, and I'm sure that sucks, but I don't have any more reference frame of reference to what you're talking about. Um, I guess I can tell you, like I tell everybody else, you got to form new habits. You got to focus on you. One of the things that you can do to get over somebody too is take on a self-improvement project, something that you can be obsessed about. Like a lot of us have a thing that we've been putting off, something that we wanted to develop in ourselves, something we wanted to learn, a thing we wanted to accomplish. You need to immerse yourself in the thing that something that you can be obsessive about, and it will still the energy that you have to give to somebody who doesn't have anything to offer you. So like for me, like I like mixed martial arts. So from time to time, I get really obsessive about boxing or MMA or Muay Thai or just whatever fighting martial art. I get super obsessive about it. And so like if I was heartbroken at the time, I would just immerse myself in learning something I don't know about mixed martial arts, whether that's going to a dojo and working out, and training, or that's just watching a shit ton of YouTube videos about fighting. But you immerse yourself in something that you can obsess about that also improves who you are, that it upgrades you from your position in that particular spot. Some people need to do more financially. You need to make more financial goals, work related goals, spiritual goals. You want to learn yoga, is the best time is after a heartbreak. You need to focus. You need the quiet and you need the focus. And sometimes the quiet is far too loud when you're focused on what you lost. And so you can take that quiet and that peace and that separation that you got from somebody, and you can turn it into a gift of opportunity to master another part of yourself. And that's how you get over somebody if you haven't found a way already. Um, M Head, love and respect. She said, I have some questions. Can I DM you? Yes, M Head. DM me, put like 10 crowns in the top of the DM so I know it's you, and I will be looking for your email, and I'll be getting back to you very soon. Mm. Okay. Oh, I'm having like a cramp or something. Somebody said, I dated a man years ago and we remained cool. High and by. He's married, but for now, I knew he's married, but for a while, I knew him not to be faithful and he wasn't the most honest. Mm, okay. Um, yeah, it sounds like he is who he is. I'm not sure exactly what the question was, though. So, oh, here we go. Okay, so she said, in fact, one of his male friends spoke to me recently and let out the bag that he'd been watching my page for 6 months. Generally, it's always a male friend watching you. You get around a guy and he has a bunch of male friends. A lot of times, if you find the friends are watching too, like everybody has an interest. Like just because you beautiful and they friends with your man don't mean they're not watching. But a lot of times they know what's being done behind the scenes, and that can be problematic because they'll make a move on you if they know your man don't deserve you. We've all seen that story on a movie, but I'm still confused about what the question is. Hold on, I'm gonna figure it out though. She said, "Okay, I started to like his friend, and after not jumping to his sexual advances, he went cold. Is this married man who I used to date trying to troll me through his friends? No, I don't think. I don't generally think that a guy who used to care about you wants anybody having sex with you that he knows. I don't know if I've met a guy like that. I know these guys exist, even weirdos exist, but I don't know a guy who even who doesn't like his ex who wants his friends banging his exes. That's a no no. That's against the bro code for a reason. Um, there's always some kind of residual something, and it just will be it'd make a guy really salty if he knew that his friend was trying to hit his ex-girlfriend, especially if he still had some residual feelings for her. Even if he's married, it doesn't necessarily mean he has complete peace about losing that woman. You can love somebody for 50 years. That is not something that just disappears because the relationship didn't work out, or you got caught cheating, or for whatever reason you were fired from the relationship. So no, I doubt that he's trying to troll you through his friends. I just think that his friends seen you and they were attracted to you and they knew what you were probably dealing with, and they're available now and they're shooting their shot because they feel like the time is right and maybe there's enough separation. Um, Raspberry Vanilla, thank you for your $5 super chat. She said, "Thank you for answering before from a man's viewpoint. How important is sex when it comes to loving a woman? Does waiting decrease it? We've been dating for 4 months. No, waiting doesn't decrease your want for. Are you saying that does waiting decrease your interest in that woman or your love for that woman? Because it doesn't. It can't. It doesn't decrease your interest. No, waiting doesn't decrease anything. It only really increases any when people are held from each other, or people are for whatever reason uh, blocked from experiencing each other in the fullness of their imagination or their fantasies. It just makes everything so much more intense. That's why people who've known each other for 5 or 6 or 10 years who've never done anything because they were in their respective relationships or they had jobs where they couldn't really cross lines and things of that nature. When they finally get into it, they have this insanely wild love affair because it just builds anticipation. Anticipation is the biggest weapon that most women have, and they don't realize it. Women think that their skill or their biggest weapon is having sex with a guy and doing such a great job that he's hooked. What really hooks a man is his anticipation for you. When a man's anticipation for you uh, causes him to allow his emotions to get in front of his anticipation, or it allows him, it takes him so much time to build progress with you that his anticipation gets the best of him emotionally. And before long, he, instead of just waiting for sex, he's waiting to hear "I love you," or he's waiting to hear, "I want to spend time with you," or he's waiting to hear, "I'm not talking to any other guys." Anticipation does that. Anticipation builds an urgency in a man that dropping your drawers will never build. Um, it's a good thing to make people wait because of that. It's also a very good sign that if you're dating this guy for 4 months and he hasn't had sex with you yet, he's not pressuring you. He seems to be in this relationship for the right reasons. So um, do what you want when you're comfortable. It's none of my business. But I can tell you that waiting does not decrease a man's love for you or his interest in you. A man who loses interest in waiting or during waiting lost interest in waiting for the thing that he was interested in, which is sex. Men who can lose interest in a woman because she won't have sex with him were a little bit too heavily concerned about the sex to begin with. People always say, "Oh, well, sex is really important." Sex is important, but I would definitely not consider it 60 or 70% of what the relationship is supposed to be. If a man's disqualifying you because he has yet to experience your sex, even though sex is clearly expected, then his expectation or his plan for your relationship was more sexual than and explorative physically than mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, and all the things that matter in a real connection. I hope that answers your question. I got a shit ton of text. I get that. Let me see. Okay. Somebody said, "I'm in a platonic friendship with a man that I think is starting to have feelings for me. I'm attracted to him and I'm starting to have feelings for him, but have not expressed this to him. Should I tell him? Um, I don't see why not. I think that if y'all in a platonic friendship, y'all have a deep enough connection where y'all can have conversations. I know nobody wants to be the first to have that conversation. Excuse me. Sorry, I know that nobody wants to be the first to have that conversation or to bring it up because it feels like you're, gonna play yourself or you're gonna be somehow or another embarrassed. People always have fears about rejection and things of that nature. And then there are also some stigmas around how much a woman should do and not do as it pertains to entering a relationship. But if you suspect that he has feelings for you and you have feelings for him, at some point you're going to have to figure out how to have that conversation. I don't think that starting the conversation is the worst thing you can do. I think that to be quite honest, for me, the worst thing that anybody can do is let fear make their decision. Whether that's fear of rejection, whether that's fear of embarrassment, whether that's fear of humiliation, whether that's fear of failure or regret, letting fear make your decisions for you is far worse than stepping on a rake by asking somebody how they feel about you and realizing that the feelings aren't mutual. That moment will pass, but you'll get your clarity quick and you'll move on and not waste your life and time and energy hoping and wishing and praying and wondering and fantasizing about some shit that's not going to happen. I would much rather save my time and have a great conversation. Obviously, you would want to answer that gracefully. I don't know the dynamic y'all got. If I knew more about excuse me, if I knew more about y'all specific dynamic, I could give you a more specific answer. But in general, starting that conversation doesn't always have to be as bad as it seems. Um, I often tell people that if you don't know how a person feels about you, but you think that the lines are blurring, you can just start the conversation there. Listen, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about us or you. How would you have me feel about you? How would you have me think of what we're doing here? Because I don't want to get the lines crossed. I don't want to have a misunderstanding. I want to have the relationship that you would prefer. And we're friends, so we can be open and honest. So I'm just a little bit confused at how I'm supposed to respond to what we're doing because I'm not really sure. You could just say something like, I generally know what a man wants from me, but I'm not sure with you. And I need some clarity just so I know what to expect. If we're friends, that's cool. You want to date, I think we could talk about that, but we need to figure out exactly what's going on so that nobody gets confused and nobody gets hurt. And that's the conversation that you have, and it doesn't have a tone of confession as much as it does curiosity or concern. And so that's a way to do it. Again, if I knew about how y'all talk to each other, y'all specific dynamic, some of the things that you say to each other, I could give you a little bit more detail. But in general, you can start conversations without confessing and still get what you want from it. Um, will heal. Damn, my bad, baby girl. I'm about to kill your name. Wilhelmina. Wilhelmina Timmons. I probably beat your name up, and I apologize. Love and respect. I swear it is. She said, "I'm in Atlanta." She said, "I'm in Atlanta, and my friend is in NC. He won't commit because of the distance and uses excuses. Uses the excuses he's working on himself, and seem like he only needs me when he's going through something. Thoughts? Um, I don't think that if for whatever reason you can't get him to commit, and he's he's working on himself, is what you're hearing. That's indefinite. I don't mind if somebody waits when there's a specific thing in the way, or there's a general timeline being established here, but I'm working on myself isn't as much of a timeline as it is I'm not ready to just date you, or I'm not ready to commit to you, or I'm not ready to stop having sex with the women that I've been having sex with in my city because you're so far away. Um, I'm not saying that this brother's an ass or anything. He could be a wonderful brother, and I would assume as much. But what he's telling you about working on himself and what he's telling you about the distance is he can't be in a relationship under the circumstances that are currently present. Unless one of y'all move, he's not going to commit to the relationship as he should, as he would be required. Him working on himself is just a cop out for I'm not ready for being in a relationship, or working on myself because I'm a cheater, I'm a dog. Like the only thing, if I'm working on myself and the thing I'm working on prevents me from being in a relationship, is probably because it's a part of the function of a relationship that I suck at. So you don't want to step on that rake and give him a shot, and then end up realizing, oh shit, I should have let you work on yourself a little more. You done banged a bunch of chicks since we got together. So he's telling you he's not ready personally, and he's telling you the distance is something he can't overcome. So as much as you would like to, figure something out with him, I'm not sure that that's going to be a thing that can happen anytime soon. So you might want to wait till you're in a position where you can close the distance. I hope that helps. Um, Somebody said I'm in a platonic friendship with a man who thinks. Oh, I just answered that. I just answered that question. In disregard. Um, all right, Roxanne CG. First of all, thank you for the super chat. YouTube didn't show me, but my wife sent it over. I appreciate that, Roxanne CG. So my mom in the comment section, and my wife's in the comment section, and my cousins in the comment section. It's a family affair. Um, Anyway, Roxanne CG, appreciate you. She said, how quickly does a man know he loves you? That depends on the man. That depends very much on the man. That depends on the trauma he's endured, the background that he has, the experiences that he brings to the table. That depends very much so on his original intent with you, what attracted you to him, or what attracted him to you. Men can fall in love almost instantaneously. I've known men to say they were in love, a week from the relationship start. And those men were exposed to a great deal of loneliness before. So it made a lot more sense that they were attached to the idea of this relationship. But I don't know how attached they were to those women specifically. They grew attached in time because they were committed to never being lonely again. Other men are, or from a more traumatic background, like I say, that's loneliness. Trauma, unlike loneliness seems to speed up the commitment process and the idea of love. Trauma slows it down. Trauma creates a doubt in every man's mind, or every man who's exposed to too much trauma, that love is real at all, and that this love is trustable. So if a man has some traumatic experience, how quickly can a man know he loves you? As quickly as it takes him to get over the last thing that he thinks is that terrible that happened to him. Some people never get over trauma, so they never love completely or wholly because they don't know how, or they're just too afraid to, and they live in fear. Right? Everybody's not on a journey to self-improve or overcome their fears or become better people. Some people are broken, they have traumatic experiences, and then they bring those to every relationship they're with. And when anything more is required from them, they're not in love anymore. So whether it's loneliness or trauma that a man experienced before you, let's say for instance, a healthy man, no trauma, not particularly lonely, loves himself enough. He might love you in maybe a month's time, or 3 months time, or 2 months time. But the thing that attracted him to you is going to be more indicative of how soon he can love you. If your sex attracted a man to you, or yes, if your sex is what attracts a man, then it takes a lot longer for him to love you if he hasn't picked up a love or a longing for the contents of your mind, or your energy, or your spirit. So generally, the intangibles, the brain function of a person is going to elicit a love response a lot quicker than having sex with a person. Some men can have sex with a woman and never feel a thing for her. That's why like whores or hookers are like that's the oldest profession in history. I think that's often said as the oldest job in history is hookers, and hookers don't have a problem with men falling in love with them for the most part. Right? Men see a nice looking woman, how much it costs. they can be completely detached from the idea of sex. So if sex brings a man to you, then it takes a lot longer for him to find some love or some feelings for you, especially if he's not exploring other parts of who you are and what you are between sex or after sex, in those conversations or experiences cuddling. So I say all that to say this: it depends very heavily on why a guy's interested in you in the first place. If a guy likes your spirit, if a guy has a spiritual crush on you, then he can be in love very quickly, very, very quickly. If he's connected to a spirit enough to know when his spirit is jumping for joy. If a man likes you because you're intelligent, then that can be moderate, but it can happen in a appropriate enough time. So it all just depends. That's a long ass answer for a very short question. I'm sorry I ramble. We're gonna get into the next question before my damn phone battery dies. Um, oh, solid. So I think I can get back into the comment section. Let me get to the bottom of this comment section and see what's going on. Okay. Somebody said, "Is it always best to seek yourself first, then a relationship?" Yep. It's always best, Danny L. It's always best to seek yourself first and then a relationship. If you're not whole, like people always say, two people come together and they become one. Uh, I mean, well, we can play with words all day. I think it's bullshit. I think two whole people should come together and make two. That's how I feel. I don't feel like two people bringing half a stable person come into a relationship. I think when two people come together and make one, that's one dependent, codependent, unstable relationship where people don't necessarily have the amount of uh, 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 energetic independence that they need to function as adults. You hear a lot about people, getting suicidal after relationships and breakups, and it's because they wasn't one when they got there. They was point 0.8, they was point 0.6, they was point 0.3. And then that they try to let that other person complete them, and the person shouldn't complete them. Um, a person should add to you, yes, but a person shouldn't complete you. You should be complete and add your complete to somebody else's complete, right? And then you join each other in happiness. WW, peace out. You join each other in happiness. You join your joy to somebody else's joy, and when two people come together and there's no joy, then they become each other's joy, and that can be very toxic and extremely dangerous. And so, yes, you always want to seek yourself before you seek a relationship. But with that said, actually seek yourself. Do the work. So many people say they're trying to find themselves and they're not doing shit. They're waking up every day at the same time, going to their job, doing the same shit, watching the same TV shows, not working on themselves at all. They're just sitting in limbo because they're too afraid to get out today. And then you ask them what they're doing and they say, "Oh no, I'm trying to find myself." You're not doing anything actually. So, sometimes that's very frustrating for people when they find someone. I see you, Latifah John. Ashik, you don't have to send me that. I see Latifah John. I'm gonna get her. Sometimes it's very frustrating for somebody to meet you and they realize you're not a whole person and they wish they had met you under better circumstances. So just find yourself, seek yourself, and then seek a relationship. It's always the best way to do it. Latifah John, is it possible for a guy who doesn't like you romantically to eventually develop feelings for you as they get to know you better? We were friends, by the way. Absolutely. My first love, I didn't like her at all. Like I didn't see her physically. I didn't care necessarily for her personality. Like I didn't see her. I discovered her. Actually, she approached me. I discovered her when I agreed to be friends with her and get to know her. Um, and during my discovery of her, I opened my mind up to what else she had to offer. And I grew romantically attracted to her, and I grew mentally attracted to her. But those things were not present in the beginning. And I had known her for like a year and a half before, and we were friends, but we were just friends that I just did not have an idea. Like I didn't even think of her like that. So before our relationship, I just agreed to explore in that way, and I had an open mind about it. So I know from my personal experience that a guy doesn't have to necessarily see you or notice you romantically to eventually grow to get to that place. Um, it's unlikely if you're chasing that guy, though. You have to set the right dynamic. and he has to be a man who respects his word to investigate you or to explore with you, and he has to also lack other distractions too. You know, sometimes if a man's distracted and he's trying to figure you out, but he really likes this one over here, it's very difficult to multitask for a lot of guys, especially when you know what you want, you just can't have it. So a lot goes into that. But yes, it's possible. Let me. I think I got it down my email. What's going on? Let me see. Look, I don't put my phone all in your face. Y'all see the Spider-Man case? My son seems to like Spider-Man, but he won't watch a Spider-Man movie. It's weird. Guess I don't have nothing, so I'm going back to the comment section. Oh, look at this. Mally So Blue. You need to go there. She said, Kev, you said you don't cheat because you consider your immediate family and care about your wife's emotional health. I want that to resonate with these ladies. Get a man who gives a damn. Absolutely. And thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I think that a man's priority is a man's passions and a man's purpose, right? It mean everything. Purpose is something that people don't put enough emphasis on. Um, I'm a Nipsey Hussle fan, and like many of you probably, and he has this quote. He says, "You can have it all. It's all about your reason." Um, uh, he says, "Got to pace yourself. It's all about your breathing. You can have it all. It's all about your reason." And he's talking about purpose. I think that a man's purpose in who he is has to be intact and in line with what he's supposed to be giving you. Like my purpose as a father is to be as great as my sons think I am. I want to be the type of father who's deserving of the type of affection that I receive from my 2-year old or my 5-year old. And I'm not sure if you could ever really deserve that type of love, because kids bring a gift to your life that is just is immeasurable, and it's something that the words don't even exist to describe. But I want to be deserving of that because I feel blessed to have it. With that said, my relationship, my wife is extremely loving, extremely supportive. She's as much as of a gift to me as my sons. I'm thinking about that package in everything I do. And hell, some of y'all got men who don't think about you or the kids y'all got. uh, and hell, they banging new girls every day, don't care about the kid, they don't care about nothing. And I get that, and I understand why a lot of y'all are so mad. And I want you to try to seek relationships with men who would treat you better. But again, we're talking about our families. You can always get better. Sometimes you got what you got, right? And so life is hard in that way, but you have to make decisions that are conducive to your mental health and the mental health of your kids, even if you have to separate the family unit. But yeah, get y'all men who give a damn, as Mally So Blue says, because it definitely helps and it definitely benefits you. And again, if you want to find a man who gives a damn, a lot of y'all should check your friends list or your friends your friends list. All these guys are friend zone. Most of them friend zone guys that stick around and actually accept the friend zone are probably the men that give a damn. Unfortunately, it's kind of weird like that. Anyway, Lucia Blanco, I appreciate you. Thank you for your super chat. She said, "The guy that I've been seeing for 6 months have been ghosting me for a week, just when I felt like he was slowly showing me more serious interest. Should I confront him or just move on?" No, you don't confront a ghost. You forget them. You treat them like a ghost. You pretend they don't exist. You say you don't believe in them. Don't never like. Don't never. Never beg a man for his time or his energy. If you have to beg a man for his time, his energy, if you have to beg him for his attention, then you will never have the type of dynamic required for a healthy relationship. So a lot of y'all chasing men who ghost y'all and they come back and you give them some and they ghost you again and you come back and you go on these dates and you got all this hope for the relationship. You will never have the dynamic that is required for a healthy relationship when you start the relationship begging for a person's validation and approval through your actions of accepting neglect. So no, don't confront him. Just move on. But you need to move all the way on. You've been seeing him for 6 months and he's been ghosting you for a week. He knows by now, after 6 months, what he thinks of you and how valuable you are or are not to him, right? I'm not sure if he's going through some kind of crisis. If he's done this before, you got to move on. If this is the first time he's done it, then you need to stop in your tracks and you need to start to back away. And if he starts to chase you from that point or start to pursue you more fervently and more consistently, then you can consider it. But if he ghosted you for a week, I still don't see how that can be a beneficial thing for you because you've already set a precedent for him to disappear whenever he wants to and you accept it. Sometimes you just got to throw people away, unfortunately. You can have all the potential in the world and still end up doing some dumb shit and go to jail for life. You can have all the potential in the world and still make a mistake that costs you everything that you thought you were building. You can have all the potential in the world and ruin your career in a day. Like potential isn't the thing that you should hold on to. So this brother has potential, but he's been seeing you for a month, 6 months. If in 6 months you have not already became a woman or a girlfriend or something, then he was on this fence the whole time, and he was either on the fence or he was looking for something better. Some people never stop shopping, and you can tell because they never commit to what they found or what they bought through their actions. And so, in 6 months, if you hadn't made it, you wouldn't go make it. So I would just move on. To be honest, don't confront him. Fuck that dude. Nicole Diaz, love and respect, no question. Just a $49 super chat. I appreciate it. That's love right there. Love. I appreciate that. If you do have a question, Nicole Diaz, write me on Instagram and put a bunch of stars in the front line of the comment section or front line in the DM so I know it's you. If you think of a question later and you don't want to pay another dollar, you've paid enough already. I appreciate it. So yeah, let me know if you do have a question in my DM on my Instagram. Also, I do want to just take this time out while I have 378 of y'all here. If any of you guys haven't been to my Kev Hick Talks live channel, please go to my Kev Hick Talks live channel. I'm telling you, y'all gonna get a lot from it. There's 3 videos on there right now, 2 originals. One is the video version of the Kev Hick Talks Life podcast preview I put up. I made a video for it because I turned the Kev Hick Talks Life podcast into the Kev Hick Talks Life channel because I rather do video. Also, I think I'll probably be actually starting a fitness program here pretty soon. So I want to preface this by saying I talk to a lot of women. Obviously, I talk to women for a living, outside of my full-time job, but I talk to a lot of women, and the conversations generally go from mental health and emotional health to physical health quite quickly. And a lot of women are in the position that they're in, whether it be their lack of confidence or their lack of self-esteem or the things that they've accepted because they've gotten away from what they believe they want to be physically and what they believe they want to present physically. They don't come into a relationship with the same amount of self-belief and the same amount of confidence. Well, luckily for many of them who've experienced, consultations with me and life coaching with me, fitness is my first love. I've been working out since I was 16, and I've been training people off and on since that point. So I've started to. I'm going to come out with a program pretty soon by the 1st of January to help people get in shape too, just so that people can have confidence from not only the mental and the spiritual and the emotional perspective, but also I can help people get into shape and the type of shape that they can be proud of, that when they go out, they have confidence and they're not sucking in these men who prey on women who don't have confidence. I think that a lot of times men are looking for women who seem to be lacking something physically because they feel like, oh, this is going to be an easier target. I can use her because she's desperate. They're looking for that desperation. Sometimes a woman's not desperate, but the lack of confidence can show up as desperation. And I don't want anybody running into these men just because they look like a target. And I don't want any woman creating herself to be a target or feeling like a target or feeling unworthy because she's gotten away from her fitness. And it's easy to get people in shape, at least for me it is, because I'm always been passionate about it. So on top of life coaching and relationship coaching, I'll be making an announcement soon for anybody who wants to get in shape with me. I'll obviously make sure my prices are compatible, are competitive. I'm sorry, but I just want to help people get fit and get confident in every way, not just mentally, and not just inspire them to think better about themselves. But sometimes you have to do better. So that's the announcement on fitness programs and Kev Talks Life channel. I'm gonna get back into these comments. I have some weird shit going on. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know what the hell going on right here. Hold on. Okay, so I don't have any more comments, and my phone goes off every 5 minutes, as y'all can tell. Since I turned my sound on, if y'all count the soundings in this video, it's probably insane. I get a lot of notifications. For some of y'all who don't think that, you know what? In fact, no, I'm not gonna read that. I'll address that in the video. But just to be clear, I care about people's questions. I care about people's comments, but it's one of me. And I work a 40-hour job every week. Like, I'm not a full-time YouTuber like a lot of these people. They just do YouTube, just answer questions, just do comments. I have a full-time job. I have a whole family. So I talk to people. I do free questions and stuff like that when I can. But every minute I spend away from my sons, they should probably be compensated for it. They should probably get a little bit of, and that's why I charge for my time. I'm not charging for my time because I'm money hungry. Y'all seen the prices; it's not there. I'm definitely not money hungry, but I don't owe anybody my free time, so I don't want people irritate me with some of these entitled ass comments that they leave. Well, I thought you cared, but you want money for your time. Of course, you don't ask them people at the mall for shoes for free. You don't ask people at the grocery store for food for free. But you want to take my personal time after I get off of my full time job and go away from my wife and my two kids that I could be playing with or making love to and answer your life questions and not offer me anything. And then somehow or another, I'm the user for requiring something from my time. I don't know where these people come from, but I've had it up to here with those people. Anyway, probably shouldn't have said that, but I say what I want. What's your opinion on long distance relationships, Catherine Parrott? I think long distance relationships can work, but long distance relationships are one of those things where two people have to be equally invested, and the distance has to be something that is definitely temporary. You cannot, under any circumstances, you cannot start a long distance relationship where the distance is indefinite. There has to be a plan to close the distance, or both people will just lose hope. And that's what that is. That's lost hope when people separate from long distance relationships. And I don't think that it's smart to start a long distance relationship if no one plans on moving or no one's willing to move or change their life structure. Okay. Yeah, no, what that's very important. So um, that's how I think about long distance relationships. Somebody said, I never apologize. So Nicole Diaz says, I never apologize for charging. It's the only thing I'm good at. Hey, listen, I've determined that I've had to get better at charging. It was something that I was very uncomfortable with when I first started YouTube, and I did not start YouTube as a business, or I didn't start YouTube as anything. I just was. My wife was like, "Listen, you talk a lot. You're going to have these conversations with me anyway. Maybe some other people should hear this." And that's kind of how my YouTube started. And it's like, all right, I guess I'm going to talk a lot. So let me get this out the way. I'm going to tell somebody else that cares. And so that's how my YouTube started. I've always helped people. I've always been this in my relationships, how I help you guys, how I probably try to inspire, try to motivate people. I've always been this in all of my relationships. I'm not being anything other than who I have always been to everybody who knows me. But with that said, I didn't start this thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna make some money on YouTube. I didn't expect to make $1 on YouTube. I didn't expect nobody to turn on my channel. So I'm very grateful for the attention. And attention is currency in this day and age. But I'm very grateful for the attention. But I don't feel entitled like not entitled, but I don't feel obligated. I used to feel obligated to give everybody my time back, and it's like it's one me and 1,000 questions coming in. You know, I mean, it's insane. Like I probably respond to 300 comments a day, and it still looks like I don't make a dent in the comment section if you're looking through my comments, because every day I get on my comments. So I might get 1,000 comments a day or 500 comments in a day. I can get to 300, but there always things that I can't respond to, and I just had to adjust to not being able to do that. So it's all good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People need to stop that shit. I don't know them nothing. And if you like free things, to be honest, love and respect. There are 150 free videos on YouTube of me, and I think that those can be as helpful as some of the things that people pay for. Um, Let me dig into some of these questions. Please write a book. Oh my gosh! Please write a book. I have a book coming out. I have two projects coming out. I have a very small ebook coming out for a dating program that I've created that will come out around the first of the year, or a few weeks into the year. It would be a one-on-one dating program for about a 3 month span. It'd be very specific about the goals for each individual person. So it'd be a lot of one-on-one time. But there's a book attached to that. There's an ebook attached to that. And then there's a big book that actually I've been challenged to finish within the next 40 days. So I may actually get it done because I have a lot of the content already written. Um, I just have to kind of put it together in a book form and see how it flows. So there are a couple of book there's a book project, an ebook project, and then there's a whole book coming out very soon. So I'm excited about that. Somebody said, "What are the positive possible reasons for a man to be secretive about his phone in marriage?" Well, anytime a person's secretive about their phone, it's probably because they're doing something on their phone that they're not supposed to be doing. That's just the bottom line. I don't listen. Y'all know it's my job to talk to women. I talk to thousands of women a year. I can leave my phone and go to work. I can take my wife's phone to work. Like I don't my wife has my phone half the time doing cash app and all these transitions, paying bills and like Amazon and shit. I don't even think about my phone. Like there's no secretive behavior about my phone because I don't have anything on my phone that she can look at for many hours if she became a jealous woman all of a sudden, which she's not. She just don't give a damn about that type of stuff. But if she did, if she happened to look through my phone for 3 hours, um, she wouldn't find a damn thing because there's nothing there. And it's not because I'm good at hiding things. There's just nothing there. I do what I do for my family. And so any man who's hiding his phone is doing something for himself that he can't present to his family. And that's just how I feel. I've never known a person who hides their phone who didn't have something suspicious on it. Somebody said, who were the people who had the most influence on your life? Who was the person who had the most? Who were the persons who had the most influence on your life? That's a very good question. So actually, one of them in the comment section, Mally So Blue. She's one of the people who had a very big influence on me in my life. And it wasn't like a lot of different things she did. It was just one lesson she taught me. Um, I was very, very stingy as a kid because we didn't have a whole lot. And I was the youngest, so I wasn't really used to sharing because my brothers were so much older. Well, one time on this Christmas, I had like $101. It was the most money I ever had in my life. And I had like, I don't know if I think I had $100 bill and a one. And she wanted to order cheesesteaks. And I remember thinking, oh man, I want a cheesesteak so bad. So she like, yo, you want a cheesesteak? I'm like, yeah, I want a cheesesteak. So she's like, all right, it's gonna be $8. And I'm like, like, man, I'm not breaking my $100 bill. And for real, like it was the most money I ever had, and it was gonna be gone like right after I got the Christmas money. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want no cheesesteak. So she bought herself a cheesesteak. The cheesesteak came, and then it was smelling so good. I went up to her and I was just looking at it. Now I knew I shouldn't ask for any because again, I had just told her I didn't want no parts of it, and I was a little bit rude when I was like, "Hell no, I'm not breaking my $100." She gave me half of that damn cheesesteak anyway, and it was probably one of the most valuable but simple lessons I'd ever learned, and that's something that she does all the time. And her talent is she loves people without a cause. You don't necessarily have to be great to her for her to love you. And as a kid, I admired that about her, and I picked that up for myself. I felt so shitty for not having broke my $100 to put in on the cheesesteak that consequently throughout my life, I've tried to repay that by trying to be a person that loves without cause or shares when a person doesn't necessarily deserve it, like I didn't deserve it at that moment. So that was actually very impactful for me. I learned a lot from the little things in life. Um, I have extremely good big brothers as well. Like I'm the youngest of four, and my big brothers are 7 years, 9 years, and 13 years older than me. And they all took kind of a father role, and they were very, very proud about being big brothers. And they never really abandoned me, even though none of them were young enough to had need to, or none of them were young enough to need to spend time with me. But they never abandoned me. Like they always wanted me around. They always took a lot of pride in making sure I felt like one of them. And they were stand up guys, and they had a lot of respect. And they was gangster and everything. And so I looked up to them, but they always made me feel like I was equal. And so, it gave me a lot of my confidence and a lot of the self-belief that I had because I believed in them and they seemed to believe in me, even though I was a little kid and they were adults or they seemed like adults to me at the time. So I think, there are other people, but those were two of some of the biggest impacts between my brothers and my cousin, who's in the comment section potentially cussing people out for getting disrespectful. Those are my influences, among others. Valerie C., thank you for being on here. You are awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you for being on here too. Thank you for giving me your time. It's been 2 hours and 9 minutes. I don't know if you was here the whole time, but I appreciate you anyway. Let me see if I got any more questions. I'm gonna get off of here at 12:30. I'm gonna get off of here at 12:30. So I'm gonna try to get to as many questions as I can by 12:30. I need to make sure my wife didn't text me. Okay, so my wife texted me. She said, "Lots of love." I think I already got that. I'm sorry. I might already answer that question. My bad. So I'm gonna get on. I'm gonna get on somebody else's question. What would be a few good tests to see if what would be a few good tests to do to see if a guy is really serious about you, Jasmine? Tests. The best test that you can do is probably make him wait for sex and get him to talk to you on the phone, or just in person conversation. It's not even about the phone or the medium. If a man uh, will invest time in conversation and mental exchange with you when there's no foreseeable reward in the sexual nature, and then he'll wait for an extended period of time while sharing this time with you and these ideas with you and having these intellectual exchanges with you on a very regular basis. If you can get on a man's schedule of communication where a man's communicating with you every day, um, you expect to hear from him, and he doesn't expect to get sex at the end of the day. That's not a test, but that should be the standard of all relationships. Just because you need to establish an emotional trust and a mental and an intellectual connection. So I wouldn't say it's a test in the way that we generally think of tests, but if a man can endure conversation with you for an extended period of time, and he can also withhold his need for immediate physical gratification, then while it's not supposed to be a test, it definitely is supposed to be something you're observing about him. Again, dating doesn't require sex. Dating requires a gathering of information. And if you give yourself enough time to gather enough information, generally you don't make as many mistakes, and that you don't encounter as much trauma as women who try to rush things because they are chasing their pleasures more than their preservation. And pleasure and preservation, or pleasure versus preservation, might be a video here pretty soon, because I think that a lot of people are screwed up in that way, that they don't understand the difference, or they don't understand the significance of what they're doing versus what they should be doing, and they just want to say, "Ooh, my throat's getting dry. Let me drink some more water." Damn throat just shut right now. Yeah, I don't like to do the duck lips. I look like I'm drinking a 40 ounce or something when I take the sip of this water, and my lips stick up. My childhood nickname was Duck Lips, by the way. That was a fun fact about me. Um, Somebody said, "What coast do you live on?" I'm a Midwest guy. I live in the Midwest. Um, no coast. Midwest weather is better. It's random, and we never know what the hell's coming. But we don't get typhoons and uh, hurricanes and earthquakes and all the shit that kills people from Mother Nature, except for tornadoes. We got a couple tornadoes this year, but that's rare. Um, what if you friends? Somebody said Angela Johnson, love and respect. She said, "What if you friends on your ex after the relationship? Always done that. Is it not okay? Is that not okay?" No, you can friend zone your ex after a relationship, and it depends very much on why you broke up, why they're ex to begin with, whether or not you should keep them around at all. But Shit. No, it's completely okay to friend zone your ex if they are otherwise a healthy part of your life. Somebody said, "What do you think about the pacings of relationships? My current boyfriend was so quick to claim me and make plans for our future." Excuse me. And then he said, "Oh shit." Just went away. He said, "Do you love me? I'm involved with his family and all in the first month is month number two." Some people, again, they move fast. You're talking about the pacing of relationships. The pacing for him is quicker, partially because of his experiences. I would guess that for some reason, or at some point, I'm sorry, he didn't know if he was going to find somebody, especially like you. At some point, um, he was a little bit discouraged, probably about the potential that he could find somebody, substantial and who wanted what he wanted and who didn't stick him in the friend zone for being like he is, which is clearly very open. He seems to be, if he's doing all of that in the first month, he's not a guy who's guarding himself. He's very open. He's probably very honest. He probably tells you how he feels and all of these things. Women generally put those guys in the friend zone. Yeah, women focus so much on their traumas that they forget that guys have their own experience. Women can treat men as shitty as men have treated women. I know, for example, I've been in far too many friend zones for a guy of my stature, my status, and my stature, like in my quality. Like I've been far too many. I should have never been in any girl's friend zone, to be quite honest with y'all. I'm too good for the friend zone. But I've been in many friend zones because I, at some point, had to realize that maybe you don't share all of your thoughts or feelings, and that was an adjustment that I had to make. And a lot of guys go through that and they learn. But this gentleman was able to be who he was with you and still be accepted. So he might be very genuine in the pacing of your relationship, but it comes from a place where he may not have always known if he was going to find the thing that he's found with you. So he may be looking to protect it. I hope that helps. Um, Somebody said, what if he behaves interested, but says he's not interested? Then believe his words. Sometimes a man that misleads you with his words on purpose, but if he's misleading you on purpose, then he's playing games, which means he has a plan, and it's probably not the most wholesome plan. Um, never attempt to decipher a man's actions when his words are telling you one thing. Far too many women say, well, he told me he wasn't ready for a relationship, but he treated me like he wanted a relationship. He acted like my boyfriend and blah, 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 blah. But he's telling you verbally, I don't want a relationship. That means he wants to experience a relationship, but he doesn't want to ever commit to one. So he'll use you to in place of a relationship until you grow tired or become a burden and start trying to require crap from him, and then he'll move on to another woman who allows him to have a loose relationship with her with no strings attached. So believe a man's words. Men understand that they're risking something if they present rejection verbally. They understand that, so give them that, because if you don't, then you're agreeing to stay and be misused or used for some alternate function that you might not be signing up for. Um, don't talk too much until I've been around living people. Hold on. Somebody said, I'm doing a video on narcissism. I've said this before, but I'm literally in the middle of writing a video about narcissism, or getting my points about narcissism down in my head, so I can give y'all a video about narcissism. It might be the next it's the next one or two videos out, or it's going to be my analysis on narcissism and our idea of it as it pertains to relationships, because I think that people you use the word narcissism sometimes when they just mean rejection. And everybody who doesn't like you isn't a narcissist. They're just mistreating you because they're trying to give you the hint that you will not be valued by them. And it's convenient to mistreat people who allow themselves to be mistreated because they make themselves useful. All right. So it's not necessarily narcissistic every time a guy does something that is not the nicest, or every time a guy seems more absorbed with himself than you. Sometimes a guy just doesn't like you and you're there. But under normal circumstances, he's a lot less of a narcissist, and it's a spectrum disorder too. It's not a black and white thing. So I'll go over all of the narcissism points because all of us have narcissism traits, every one of us. In fact, I admit to having a lot of narcissism traits, but um, I don't believe I'm a narcissist because I want everybody to feel as great about themselves as I feel about me. And if I'm a narcissist, then damn it, everybody should be one because I've never had self-esteem issues, and I had some of my childhood was rough. I've never had confidence issues, and I had reasons to not have confidence, but um, shit. Sometimes a little narcissism goes a long way to self-esteem and mental health, and some of y'all could use a little bit more narcissism. Stop thinking of it as just this black plague of negativity because narcissism is just what they are doing to describe a spectrum of behaviors. And all of the behaviors are exist in our human nature. Some of them more common than others. The more rare and negative the behavior, the more dangerous and treacherous the narcissist. But many of the behaviors on the second half of the spectrum, or the I would say the left half of the spectrum, are pretty average behaviors for a person. Only when they're put in big chunks and two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine of these things are thrown together do you get somebody who's problematic. So narcissism is a spectrum disorder. It has so many colors and shades that you can't just pin a narcissist label on somebody just because they did a mean thing or they didn't seem to care about your feelings in a particular instant. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, damn, man, there's so many questions. I got to get up off of here. It's 12:30. I'm gonna watch TV with my wife before I go to sleep. Um, I think I got to take my son to gymnastics tomorrow. I don't know what the hell I got to do, but I know I'm gonna be up to 5 in the morning because my wife's a night owl, and we're just about to start our night. So I'm gonna get with y'all later. I really appreciate everybody who came out. Disregard that shit. I appreciate everybody who watched, who joined me, who asked questions. I do apologize for the many dozens of questions I might have missed. Love and respect to y'all, though. If y'all do want those questions answered, you can always go to my website, www.girltalkwithguys.com, and get your questions answered and get a guaranteed response. It's the holiday season, so I'm a couple of days slower on the responses because Christmas is taking over my house. Clearly, Christmas is taking over my house. But I will be getting back to those people guaranteed because they're paying for my time and they're paying my family for their time. Let me see. Please go check out the other channel, Hick Talks Life. I only have 2,000 followers right now, or 2,000 subscribers. I need more subscribers. I need y'all to share those videos. I need y'all to get the word out. I can't monetize the channel at the moment without 44,000 watch hours. And so it doesn't help my family at all. So it's really a labor of love until I get established there, until I get a few more thousand subscribers. But I'm really passionate about the subjects we're talking about. I would do it for free anyway. So I'm excited to start this other channel, and I will be filling that channel up just like I filled this one up. So please go over there, check it out, subscribe, show me some love over there. I got to get my ass off of here and start watching TV with my wife, or I'll be having problems. So I'm going to get with y'all later. Y'all be cool. I'm going to end this stream now. Love and respect. Yes, I want to end it. Please end it.